Right, lovers. I'm about to play for the second time actually the platinum demo for Final Fantasy 15 that came out. I'm playing the PS4 version. I played through most of it. I actually could have ended it, but I gave up before the very ending, and don't know why I didn't finish it because I was like a minute away. So I figured I'd play through it again just to finish it out, just to see if there was any trailer or anything at the end. But I thought I'd use this as an opportunity to give some thoughts on kind of the series as a whole and the demo particularly because Final Fantasy 15 is coming out on September 30th, and I couldn't be more excited. I've been really excited about this game. So, real quick before we get started, I guess I'll just talk about why I'm so excited for this game before showing off a little bit of it, and then I'll just talk about other things Final Fantasy. So, I have always loved the series. I like. I think my favorites are from Final Fantasy VI through Final Fantasy IX. Those are my favorites. The PlayStation 1 era is my favorite, but I think Final Fantasy VI is just as amazing. And I like 10. I really like 12 more than most people. Reminds me a lot of Xenoblade, or Xenoblade reminded me a lot of that. And its giant world and huge towns, and I really like that a lot. And I am on the more negative side towards the 13 series, but I don't hate it like some people do. I just think it's not what I want in Final Fantasy, but as a game, it's still better than most JRPGs, especially of last generation. I mean, there were some good ones, but, you know, it's better than a lot of those ones with weird names like Infinite Undiscovery, I think it was called, or The Last Remnant was another one that came out, and you know, there was a lot of average JRPGs that came out last gen, but there were a few good ones that stood out. I think that like just something about the way I enjoyed the PlayStation era Final Fantasies. This one seems like it's gonna evoke some of those feelings for several reasons. One of them being that the art director from Final Fantasy 6 through 8, and I think maybe a little 13, is working on this again, and his style, his mix of fantasy and sci-fi just really resonates with me, because I feel like a lot of role-playing games, whether they're Japanese or Western, fall into tropes, and I like to see my RPGs kind of do some different things. Hey, and I already got my first viewer here, Retro Raga. How you doing, dude? So this is me describing my thoughts about Final Fantasy series, but also it's a live stream, so I will be chatting with anybody who pops in too. But, you know, so basically that's where I stand with the Final Fantasy series right now. I didn't play Final Fantasy 13-2 or Lightning Returns. I only played maybe a little less than a quarter of 13, but I have 13 and 13-2 and plan on having the whole series and playing through it eventually, because I still want to enjoy it. But, thanks, man. I'm glad to be streaming too. So, basically, I'm going to get started, and then I'll talk more about Final Fantasy from here. And Ryan, I've been just giving some thought on the title screen on the series as a whole, but I'm going to check out this demo right now. And have you seen anything about this yet before I play it? So one of the things that I really was about to say too is like it resonates with me when RPG doesn't follow the tropes of just high fantasy, and it does some different things with it. My Brian's really loud. But what I liked about this one is it had a extra hyper realized world where it's almost looks like stuff you see in our world, like cell phones and the cars. But there have been cars in, you know, Final Fantasy 7 and 8 and stuff before 10 and everything. So it's not, I think 10 had some, but 13 did actually. So that's not a new thing to see some of the more modern looking stuff in it, but this game cranked it up a little more. But I think that also gave people some fears that the series was going to not have enough fantasy at this entry, but this demo, more than the last demo that came out, and the trailers that came along with it really show that this Final Fantasy is going to have a variety of environments that are typical of what you expect of Final Fantasy's level of creativity and fantasy nature. So I'm super stoked. That's what I think this era's demo really helps show. But oh yeah, the card games were great in the old one. I think I liked 8s a little better than 9s. Or maybe it was the other way around. One of them I liked a little more, but... Anyway, so... yeah, I played a little bit of this demo, like I said, just to the ending, and I just didn't go through where the end was, but... right off the bat, I think the game looks gorgeous. There's some, you know, image quality issues here and there in some of the trailers we saw, but I think overall it looks really good here. And I love the animation. I think the animation in this demo and the last demo I played of it are so phenomenal. I mean, look at how when your character's running, the clothes and hair just move like they should. And like when you jump, the hair is falling. And hair, even though they go with like the typical JRPG hair in the Final Fantasy series, it moves so realistically that I just don't care that it, you know, some people see it and they're like, boy band haircut, but I'm like, whatever, I think it looks cool. And it's not generic bald Space Marine stuff. First of all, let me just say that Carbuncle down there, which was a summon in past Final Fantasy games, is super cute, and I love that he's in this demo. But yeah, so the first demo, if nobody played it, it gave you more of an idea of the combat in depth. And wait, this is really cool. Ooh, it's, I think it's like the summons from the past games, which this game really is going to have a lot of references to the past Final Fantasies, but in like a way they've never looked before, with super high definition and highly detailed character graphics. So I'm really excited to see what else is referenced in here. But anyway, so the last demo had a little more of the so make sure I wasn't missing any gems. The last demo had a little bit more of combat, open world nature. This one's a little more of like a conceptual tech demo one that shows off graphics and animations, a little bit of combat in here, but it also kind of shows like lighting effects and everything. In fact, after this dude's done talking, God, he's cute. You see this little pad here I can stand on. We'll change it from daytime to nighttime. I believe sunset. Yes, it's time split up. So this demo definitely is like a separate thing from the actual game, and it's just to show you some of the tech and everything. Because this game has its own engine. And hey, what's up, gamer guy Mike? And it's like, it's cool because it like, I know the Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to use the Unreal Engine, so probably the future ones, because I guess it's really easy for them to make games with. So this game's going to kind of stand out, I think, as a special Final Fantasy, being that it's going to have this engine for this game, probably only. But I'm just super stoked because I really like the last demo. But some of my worries about the game world and stuff were amended, I guess, when I played this one, because right off the bat, it still has that hyper realism in terms of the look of it and everything, but at the same time, you get more of the fantasy elements that you expect from the series. Oh, and that's okay, Ryan. The delays are late for me too, so feel free to leave any comments. I'll still comment on them, even if it's breaking up what I'm talking about or anything. So one thing I'll talk about right now, since I'm at the combat, is there's a lot of people worried about the combat. Now, let me equip my childlike weapons, because this is a dream, and a kid version of the main character, Noctis. It's kind of automatic in that you hold the attack button down and then aim towards guys, and he just does the attack on his own. So, and then if you press the directional pads while he's mid-animation, you can switch to different weapons. So you can, I don't know, the last demo had more complex combat, and I guarantee you the main game's going to have even more complex combat, but what I kind of like about the combat in this is because you can hold it and your guy will attack when you hold it, or you can hold block and he'll continuously block attacks that he can. It allows you to move the camera around freely, kind of get more situational awareness while you know your guy is doing attacks. So you're like, okay, he's attacking, I'll let him do that, and then I'll see where the guys are coming from the other angle. And I'm assuming when your party's there, it'll help you see where the party is going to you know, make their next move and stuff. So I guarantee you there's going to be more interplay when the full game comes out. And these two demos, the kind of mix of what they showed of the combat and what we've seen from videos, I really am giving them a fair shot with the combat before I give it my full opinion. Plus, as a kind of a bias, personal bias, I'm not as big on the combat in JRPGs as other people are. Some people love the grind, want the battle system to be perfect, but I like Final Fantasy VIII, even though its combat system is admittedly flawed, and I like, you know, I like all sorts of RPGs that have action combat, turn-based combat. I care about the party management aspect of RPGs more than how the combat is, real-time or turn-based. So I'm hoping that the combat allows for me to at least give orders to my teammates or something like that. But you know, we'll see how it actually plays out. But the demos, I think they're more to show kind of the look and scope of the game. But yeah, Ryan, this one I think is going to bring a lot of people back. Just seeing the trailer and the scale they're going for, I think a lot of people are like, hey, I got to try this Final Fantasy, even if you've kind of drifted away. I think what they're going for, this in combination with the 7 remake, will definitely, it's good to see Final Fantasy being talked about a little more, even just based on these games before they're released. So real quick, as I stand here on this rock, the reason I wanted to is I have a very fond memory of, in the PlayStation era, the summons. Oh, thanks, Mike. I appreciate you always commenting and watching, dude. The summons in Final Fantasies, you know, they're always like the spectacle, the big woo-ah. But, you know, after 7, 8, 9, well, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, they had to shorten them in 9 because it was like, okay, I don't need to see this full animation every time I want to use one. And, you know, it kind of, in 10, they were nice to see them in the PS2 graphics and everything, but still, summons have always been like a thing that never wowed me as much as they did that first time, you know. But I think with this game, what they're doing with the summons, and I'll actually step on this plate to show you what I'm talking about. Coming out of that water right there is one of my favorite summons of Final Fantasy, and that's Leviathan, the water dragon. And one of my fondest memories of Final Fantasy is when I played a demo of Final Fantasy VIII, and it had Leviathan early in the game. Then you'd actually see him when you were playing the actual proper game when it was released. But it wowed me so much. Like, this is the, like, even the jump compared to 7, which had, you know, the summons were impressive in that too. It's this game and the trailers and what I've seen, seeing how giant they are and everything, is kind of the wow factor again, and I've missed that. So that's something that really excites me about this one, is having the summons be exciting again. I don't know how they're going to be implemented, because in the demo I think they're implemented more as showpieces. I don't know if in the game they're going to be useful for combat or if they're just going to be a cool, you know, spectacle. But I really am excited to see where they go with it, because in those oh yeah, you too, take care, man, thanks for stopping by and chatting. I think that, you know, in the trailers we've seen, the way the summons are kind of in real time, they, you know, when you summon them, it picks your character up off the ground before doing the attack. It's like holding you safely, and I don't know why it doesn't care about your party, but maybe it teleports them away or something. So I don't know, it's just really cool the way they implemented that, and I can't wait to see other summons, especially like ones from past Final Fantasies that we know and love. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on summons. I wanted to talk about that when the Leviathan came out. And there's already been one trailer a while back that we saw that showed Leviathan in a city, and it just was really impressive, and I can't wait to see that, how that made it into the game. Another side comment I'll make on this part of the demo is that I always love games that have this micro character in a big world. Probably goes back, the earliest reason I liked it was because I loved, what was it? It was World of Illusion, Castle of Illusion, those old Mickey Mouse games on Genesis. You got to be in the like houses or library-looking levels, and you were this small. So I think that's what started it. But I've loved other games that do this too, like Super Mario Land 2 has a level like this, and then and even the other Mario games that have like large, small world and all that. Those are really cool. But I love it because I just love seeing the scale from a different perspective, and I think a couple other games I like to do it are Toy Commander for the Dreamcast, and Toy Story 2 Buzz Lightyear platforming game has that same feel, and I love it. So anyway, let me hit this light thing here. Yeah, I know, right? like oh no. But the first thing I gotta say is, what really makes this look next gen to me, or this gen, I guess, because we're already into this gen, a couple years, is just the lighting. It just looks natural. Like, everything looks awesome. You know, you can go, oh, it has high-res textures, and like I mentioned earlier, the great animations, but I mean, I just love the way the light's reflecting off stuff, and it's just enough brightness without being overdone with the bloom filter for the light coming in the windows. This is kind of interesting. Stuff in here. Poof, turn into a toy truck. And it's just so impressive to see what they've done with the lighting effects this gen, and this game seems to really take advantage of that. So I'm super excited to see that. But yeah, I mean, in general, Final Fantasy, I feel like I loved it back in the day, and it has gotten worse, but there's still, I've never hated any of the newer Final Fantasies. They just weren't as good as the older ones. So I'm really excited to see this come back to, like, wow, having that spectacle again. And like I said earlier, I think this and Final Fantasy VII Remake together are going to kind of add a little more excitement to the franchise. I mean, just look at the animation of his coat swinging and stuff as he runs. That's the attention to detail that I've liked in past Final Fantasies. They always were trying to push the envelope graphically and stuff, and this game looks like it's doing it too. Wow, that was really cool. So maybe a little dark in here. Wow, really dark in here. Haha, there we go, the sun's down now. And then, yeah, see, now look how cool and natural that lighting is of that chandelier. So, and here's another thing I love. So this game's going to have, you know, it's a fantasy world, but this is pretty realistic to something you'd see in our world. And so I love that they have these, like, magazines with the Final Fantasy enemies, you know, like they are in that world, you know. And then look, there's even like a graphic novel here, The World Wanderer. Like, come on, how cool does that sound? They got a book with a 6 on here and Roman numerals. Final Fantasy 6. But really cool. And like, there's like a brew here. And yeah, as you get up close here, some of those textures here are a little blurry. But I mean, just the overall image of this game was really impressive to me. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, I got here before, but yeah, there's little gems I'm picking up, and I hear that if you get 100 of them, at the end of the demo you can get a shuriken weapon to use against the boss of the demo, and I didn't do that the first time, so that's why I'm kind of going to take my time a little. Here's where I go. So yeah, I mean, I have very so I mentioned earlier, my favorite Final Fantasies are the PlayStation era. Now, that's partially because, I'll admit, I started with the Final Fantasy VII, which, you know, a lot of people, it's their favorite because of that being their first. But I'm also the kind of person who always, when I play a game, I look at it from the perspective of, wow, when this came out, this was impressive. And so, when I did finally play Final Fantasy VI a few years later, it's right up there with 7 as one of my favorite Final Fantasies. I just absolutely love it. And it's just the world, they sell me on the world. And that, I guess, leads me into my next topic of Final Fantasy is, I love, in RPGs, but especially in Final Fantasy games, I love the towns. That's my favorite thing, exploring the world and the towns. And Ryan, I see your message that you're going to be going for a little bit, but if I don't see you later, take care. But if I do see you on here, I'm finishing this demo, so probably playing for at least an hour. So, take care, dude. But yeah, towns, like I was saying, are like I just love something about when I go through a JRPG town and it's well developed and you talk to the NPCs, and I know a lot of people, it's probably just throwaway dialogue. I don't want to talk to just random characters saying random stuff. But to me, that's what is the world building. That I feel like Final Fantasy VII I love so much, not just because, oh, blew everybody's mind back in the day and everything, but when I played that world, I mean, Midgar, I thought Midgar was going to be the game. Like, that was Midgar. And it was this huge city, and it had this cool fantasy and reality blend. And the people, like, on the trains and in the alleyways, they sold the world to me. Like, I felt like this was such an oppressive world. And, you know, looking up at the plates, you know, in the cinematics when they showed the plates above the cities and everything, the ones that eventually come crashing down at some points, it was really like, wow, that's such a unique world and such a unique idea, taking like this depressive world and making it its own fantasy taste that they came up with. So I don't know, I love that. And but then, like, as you play Final Fantasy VII, the towns, you leave Midgar, and that first moment of seeing the rest of the world is just like, how is this the same game that I'm playing? I have all this to go to, and then you start to really see more of the fantasy aspects of everything, and in the design and everything. And some of my favorite video game worlds have been, and towns have been in Final Fantasy games, like starting when I played 7, because of how much detail it is. And you know, I feel like the little one-off comments and stuff by the NPCs in Final Fantasy games, you know, sometimes they're humorous and everything, but sometimes they just are enough to make me, to sell the world to me. And when I play a game with NPCs that are bland and they don't say anything really, I'm kind of just like, oh, okay, I guess that's fine. And I don't know, to me, like, I just can instantly think of some of my favorite towns in Final Fantasy games, you know, Narshe in Final Fantasy 6, and Fisherman's Horizon in Final Fantasy 8. That game, by the way, has some of the best towns in any Final Fantasy. But yeah, so it's, you know, I don't know if that's a favorite thing of some other people when they play Final Fantasy games. You know, they're probably like, I like the battle system and all that. To me, the towns, if you can have great towns with great music, boy, does that sell me on your game. And that's probably why I like 8 more than a lot of other people, because I just wanted to explore that world. Now, I will admit, Squall was one of the most annoying characters, especially in the first half. I mean, he got a little better as the game went on. But, everybody always makes fun of Cloud for being mopey and but, like, he was goofy and silly, too. Like, he was a really likable character, and I think that, Squall from Final Fantasy VIII, he is what the people always say Cloud is. No, that's Squall. He's like, whatever, I don't care, I'm emo. That was Squall. Cloud, there's one part where he tells the guys of Avalanche with him, he's like, let's mosey. And he like kind of does a little funny animation, like, let's go. And I'm like, that's not the Advent Children Cloud that most people, I think, judge him on. But anyway, that's just my little Cloud defense. But you know, 8, even with its boring main character, you know, I just still love the rest of the cast and the game itself in general. Probably because of the towns and the music. They were some of the best in the series. And you know, the problems with Final Fantasy VIII's battle system being you have to draw magic from people, or from enemies, to get more magic to use, which is kind of weird. And the fact that the enemies scale up with you, for most people that probably sucked because they want to grind their characters up, but if you grind the characters in Final Fantasy VIII, you're going to end up being fighting guys that are so much harder. I remember my first time I tried playing through Final Fantasy VIII, I got stuck on one of the summons that you had to fight to unlock. I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to beat this guy. So I ended up restarting the game a couple months later, and just played through, you know, fought guys as they came to me, but I didn't like hunt down people to grind. And sure enough, I got through the game pretty like fair. You know, there was a couple challenging fights, but I overcame them by changing my strategies up and everything. So I was like, okay, it kind of like clicked again. Like, I just can't play it like I would normally play a JRPG, and it worked for me because I didn't feel like I was wasting my time grinding. Because that's sometimes when I grind, it's fun in RPGs. It's, you know, good trying to do that whole RPG grind, but sometimes it's like, especially with my schedule, I'm like, I just don't have time anymore. So 8 is a game that kind of, I felt like, if you just played it through and fought the guys that you came upon, it kind of has like the perfect difficulty. There's some challenge, but you're not going to pull your hair out, and you're also not coasting through it too easily. So, yep, I am always going to be on a Final Fantasy VIII Defense Force if people ask. So anyway, let's take a little break from talking about past Final Fantasy. I'll go back in a little bit. But yeah, so continuing with this game. So the last demo had a mix of some stealth moments, a lot more combat, some random encounters, the open world. It wowed me in that, okay, scale of the world is almost like a Xenoblade style game. And if anybody's played Xenoblade Chronicles or Xenoblade Chronicles X, you know that those games excel at making the world feel like it has a lot of scale and everything. And it's cool. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's cool in that, you know, you have this wonderful scale as you're traversing the world. But what, you know, world maps and stuff were always a popular thing in the Final Fantasy series, exploring the world. And since 10, you know, 10 had like kind of a more linear, there was a little bit of openness, but it was kind of level to level. And then 13 series was definitely linear until you got to certain points in the game, which I never even got to on my own playthrough. I just know about them. So when I saw this, you know, I'm like, okay, well, the demo and everything, I can't really tell if it is going to have an open world, if it's going to be like Xenoblade, but, you know, I'd take that kind of an open world over a Final Fantasy 13 level of linearity. So it's not, I don't know, it was like, okay, I can deal with that. But then the latest trailer they showed, I think it was the Japanese one, ended with the car that you drive around in with your party of friends in the game kind of taking flight. And I'm like, is the car going to eventually become the game's airship in a way, where you can go through the world? Or even if it's just a way to help you traverse faster, I think it's really cool. And another great thing that the trailer that recently came out shows is the chocobos. And it shows not just... I saw the first time I watched the trailer, Noctis riding the chocobo, and I was like, that's cool, you ride a chocobo again. But it showed the party riding them with you, and I was like, oh, that's cool, that'd be kind of fun. You know, your car, one of the times your car is broken down and you guys as a party are traveling by chocobo. I'm like, that'd be really cool. So, definitely excited to see where they go with that. And as I've been fighting these guys here, once again, I think I mentioned it earlier, but, you know, for those like me who aren't like diehards about the combat, you know, believe me, I enjoy good turn-based combat, especially in like 6 and 7 and 9 I really liked, and 10 had some of the best, you know, the last turn-based one, really, if you think about it, and it was just amazing. So I've always liked the combat, but I almost don't mind if this one has a little bit of an automatic nature to it. I'm still, you know, changing up the weapons and stuff as I attack, and the more weapons, you know, you have to choose from and everything, it might have a really good strategy as you're just holding one button, but it also lets me just do it. Like, I can fight and think more about what weapons to have. Ooh, present. Radiant sword, so I have a new sword. So it's kind of, it's cool. I want to see how, when we have the full level of equipment and, you know, what the game's going to have when the full game's out. It'll be cool to see how many different combinations of stuff you have. But again, I'm looking at this as, this is a demo. It's not going to have all the features, so I'm not going to judge it as if it did. Now, when the full game comes out, I'll give it a fair shake. But I am extremely excited for this game, so I'll try to give it the most fair shake I can without just going, oh, I'm gaga over this. And who knows, I might play the game and really have issues with it when it comes out, but for now, I really like what I played. Now, some people have said they've had issues with camera control in this demo, and the only time I notice camera control is when I'm in an area like this where I'm not supposed to be, or I'm supposed to be because they have these things here, but, you know, it's not like a traditional place you're walking, so I don't really count a camera issue when it's a weird out-of-place thing like that. But there were some issues in the next part of the demo. There's some more close quarters, and I think I have had an issue with. So, but, you know, it's such a, the scale is so big that I really think that, like, it's almost like a Bethesda game. There's glitches galore in those games, and GTAs will have glitches sometimes too. But they're also setting up such a scale that, you know, I'll deal with some minor issues if overall I'm having a good experience. So, man, there might be a better way to do this, but I'm just gonna do it my way. I tried. But, so yeah, I'm just curious, you know, if you guys want to, you know, because I'm doing a live stream now, but if you want to watch this later and have any thoughts of your own on how this game's going to be, I'm curious to see what other people think, because I'm giving them my opinion from my perspective of the series. Man, I'm really botching and getting this last thing. I'm trying to get it. Oh, so here I missed, so it's a good thing I got crushed. Now see, the camera was screwing up there, but I'm falling into a mess of physics. So I'm not going to judge, oh, this game has a bad camera because of that. I guess one thing I do feel negative about is, you know, the combat's automatic and that's okay, but what if I want to whack these things with my weapon, can I? Yeah, I guess I could tap it to do it, so alright, I guess it's not that big a deal, but I was going to say, like, I wanted to be able to Sometimes I like the whole sandbox nature of games, and oh, it's a really good texture up close. The sandbox nature of games, and let me play around with it and goof off. And when games don't let me do that, I kind of get so. I guess I'm okay if this game does let me have a little bit of that nature. I got this one when I played last time. I'm gonna waste time just trying to get this stupid. Oh, let's see. Oh boy. Should get this to not go that way. Come on. My attempt at trying to get this one last gem. Although I already have over 100 gems, so I guess I'm gonna let this one go, because this is not entertaining to watch me attempt this, or maybe it is, I don't know. You tell me! Alright, so, get these gems. This is pretty cool, up on the table. But yeah, see, I do like how, okay, I do a couple slices here, and then I switch to my other weapon that does the stronger attack that's slower. That to me is similar to when you play a game and you have a light attack button and a strong attack button. And, here, I'm gonna try to block it, I'm doing that. So yeah, just the basic attack it did block. But instead of hitting like XXY, I can hold circle and do 2 swipes of the sword, boom, boom, and then switch to that, boom, and I'll try to finish him off. Well, it's 2 others. But you know, so it's kind of got the same rhythm of an action game, but a little more casual and easier to do. And this is without, I mean, see, this is the other thing we gotta think about. I'm not doing any magic in this demo. I think there might have been magic in the other demo, but see, I only played my nephew Cameron's demo. I didn't ever own Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, so I'm just going off of memory for that. Now this is cool. I just got Thunderbolt, which, if I remember correctly, had really cool effects when I played this before. And put sprint, which is cool. Aha. Going back to some of the older Final Fantasies, I like, I think my favorites are 6 and 7. 6 is my favorite 2D, 7 is my favorite of the start of 3D, and the pre-rendered background's still kind of two-dimensional plane if you think about it. And I really like 4, but I put it underneath 7, 9, and 10 for me. Probably even 12. It's on par with for me. I don't know. Maybe if I played it back in the day, I really would have liked it more. And it was good. I just don't think it's as good as some of the other ones. But yep. So those are my thoughts on the other ones. But here's now the last part of the demo, which this is where I did this. Then there's a boss fight, and I didn't finish the boss fight, so I'm gonna finish it this time. But this gives me a real good hope for the towns. Like I mentioned earlier, I love the towns in Final Fantasy games. And this makes me go, all right, they're really playing to what I enjoy in Final Fantasies for this, so this could be perfect. If it would get downloading. Yeah, and see, there's in this part of the demo shows off some of the weather effects. It's pretty cool. There's a pretty thick rain coming down, and I was playing with these headphones on last time I played, and the surround sound audio was fantastic. But, you know, it's pretty cool because this is another one of those towns that looks like it could be in our world and not so much the fantasy world, but at the same time, as I change the weather to sunny, I just cool button here. I like seeing the wet effects from the former rain, and the character wetness looks really cool too. And I believe he dries off as the demo goes, which is a nice little detail. But as I start looking, I go, okay, this looks kind of realistic, but you'll see a little more of the fantasy elements that we come to know from the series. definitely excited to see that. It's cool. This demo has a lot of little hidden things just in this demo, so I'm assuming that. Yeah, David Knight. If they put this level of detail, even in a demo like this, where it's not representative of a full, plot-driven gameplay of the actual game, they put a lot of detail into this, of where you can go, and there being little secret things to find, and enemies that appear. So I'm really hopeful that the full game is going to have just fantastic places to visit and explore, outside of the outdoor, open world type parts. So that's exciting to me. That's something that I think the series could really use, instead of, I know there's jokes about the hallway simulator of 13, but nobody can really deny that it didn't look gorgeous. So to see the HD level quality with towns that are huge to explore and everything, and the world to be huge to explore too, is really exciting prospect. And it's not like we don't see HD worlds in games now, but I mean, we had like The Witcher 3 came out and everything's gorgeous, and this gen too. So this Final Fantasy won't blow minds for just RPGs in general, but because of where the series has gone, and JRPGs in general in North America, it's great to see them kind of coming back to that wow factor for the series. Really cool. So now that I'm up here in this upper area, I can show what I was talking about, where this really does remind me of something I'd see in the PlayStation era Final Fantasies. These worlds look like some of the pre-rendered backgrounds brought to life. This would be something in a town square that you'd walk by, but it would be from like a top-down view, really creative camera angle or something like that, for the pre-rendered backgrounds. And so I'm excited that some of that same kind of design and art direction is now in a fully 3D Final Fantasy. Because, when they went from Final Fantasy 9 to 10, 10 clearly had better graphics than the pre-rendered backgrounds, but they had to scale down some of the wow factor because it was now on a new system, and it was the first Final Fantasy of that era, so they hadn't mastered the hardware yet. So even though it was impressive in its own right, it didn't feel the same as the past couple Final Fantasies before it. So another thing about this that's cool to me is it's seeing the cool look of that pre-rendered background era of Final Fantasy with better graphics. And not only does it keep having callbacks to the PlayStation era, which was my favorite of Final Fantasy series, but the enemies in this game there's a lot of them from the old 2D games that are now brought to life in 3D. In the last demo, they had some enemies out in the field that were in like Final Fantasy 6. And so it's really cool seeing some of those ones that haven't been seen in the series. Because, the series always has some of the enemies that were in past games, revamped a little bit and everything. But there's some enemies that haven't had that chance to be revamped yet. And in fact, if I use this little pad here, it turns me into, yes, this is the one. It was an enemy in Final Fantasy 6 and hasn't been in one since. And they have it in this one. And this is another example of people who judge this demo too critically. Obviously, the main game is just going to have random pads that let you become random enemies. It would be like with no reason. Like they want to show you some more stuff that the demo would offer if it was just a linear sample from the game. So I'm okay with that, And now I got to turn back into Noctis because I can't put on those steps with it. That's when I wanted to smush and already killed him. So yes, that one enemy is really cool to see again, brought to life in fully 3D because it hasn't been since one of the 2D games. And then this dude's cool. Look at this crocodile wings kind of enemy. I'm sure he will, when I play the full game, there'll be a bestiary with all the creature names and everything. This might be the first RPG I get a strategy guide for again in a while, because I have good memories of the PlayStation strategy guides. Turn back myself and so I want to see some of these enemies in daylight. But seeing this area with the night graphics is pretty cool. Let's see if I can do another one. I think there was this one again. There's a giraffe-looking enemy that I turned into, which was kind of neat to see. Yeah, whatever. And I guess the next thing I want to talk about this game, if you haven't watched the trailer that came out from the event that showed off the game, and this demo release with, definitely check it out because there's a lot of cool stuff to talk about if you see it. But one of the things is, you know, Final Fantasy games have had good music, even after Nobuo Uematsu didn't work on the series. They still had some good soundtracks in there. There's no dreamscape. Soccer balls. That's interesting. But anyway, great music, and the demos and the trailers have proven that so far. But the latest trailer had the main theme of the game, which is actually a cover of Stand By Me, which is a classic song. But what's interesting is it's a Florence and the Machine version of it, and they actually like interwove the prelude theme from the Final Fantasy series into the song, and it gave me chills. I was like, wow. And I know there's a lot of hate for it when people heard it, like, oh, this isn't Final Fantasy, but you know, Final Fantasies have had songs with lyrics and stuff, and usually it's J-pop or you know, orchestral with like operatic type singing, you know, and I like all those too, but the Stand By Me cover for it is perfect for the theme of the game, having the group of friends going in their car. And I wanted to circle around this just because now that it's a different time of day and everything, the different lighting conditions really kind of have, you know, make the worlds look more vibrant and everything. And what's cool, from the trailers and stuff, I've noticed that, you know, the summons that you're going to use in the game, it's not a pre-canned animation that looks great, but, you know, looks the same every time. You know, you could be in an area that has lighting like this, and the, you know, giant Rama lightning wizard is going to look a lot different in an area like this than another area that has nighttime lighting and stuff. And actually, in one of the trailers, you can see the Titan summon is in like a sunset lighting, and he was in another video in a like daylight lighting like this. So that again goes back to the fact that they're real time this time, and not just pre-rendered animations. It's really exciting to me to see that. And now, like, see over here, looking out there, that is a very Final Fantasy IX looking town design. So, you know, there's more than just the Final Fantasy 7 and 8 kind of mix of technology and fantasy. They have this cool, some of this architecture that looks like something out of our world, but with a little more of a fantasy spin. I really like the water wheel over here and everything. So, really cool town. Kind of reminds me actually of a very HD version of one of the towns, of course I can't remember the name of it, in Tales of the Abyss, which is a game I played this year. The Tales of series is quite different than Final Fantasy series, but this town reminds me of another water town that was in that. But pretty cool. And I remember this stupid thing gave me trouble last time I played. I don't know why I'm trying to get these done. Oh, I got it! Oh, I sure did. I feel like I'm missing something. I think there was another camera in this demo that I could get that was an upgrade to this one, so I figured I might as well do this part of it. I will say, I haven't, even though I liked the automatic combat for some of the more cinematic things, like I was saying, like I can focus on the guys around me and stuff, I haven't really blocked. And I'm sure in the real game, when I'm trying to manage my health and stuff more, I probably will try blocking and everything, but I've kind of just been coasting through this, so it will be interesting to test out the final game to see where they go with the combat and everything. But I like what I've seen so far. There's some interesting stuff. What's that enemy I'll turn into now? Stupid one again. I swear I got like a giraffe looking thing one time. It was kind of cool. I'll try this one over here one more time. I know where the end of this area is. I just thought there was a hammer upgrade somewhere out there. And I want to use that for the next boss. Yeah, there it is. Isn't that cool? It's like a giraffe with tusks and big antlers. really cool. And that, you see, I mean, just between the demo and the trailers, I've seen so many enemies that have that familiar, either they're from an older Final Fantasy, or they just, it's just great seeing them visualized like this. I feel like there's so many reasons I'm going to enjoy this game when it comes out. It could be just what Final Fantasy needs. Or it's going to be a game that go, okay, it's not as good as the rest, but wow, it graphically wowed me. And, you know, it was cool to see Final Fantasy in this. And I know for some people that's not enough to pay $60 to play the latest game, but you know the prices are going to go down after a while. And you can check it out later on. Like I bought Final Fantasy 13 series for like $10 or less a piece, so I can't really complain. Let's go with that road. I can't really complain that it's not, you know, the most amazing game ever, because you just wait, it'll go down to a price. If you wait long enough, unless it's a rare game, if you wait long enough, you know, most games, the most common games that sell millions, they're gonna go down in price. Like, you can get Uncharted series is like some of the best PS3 games, and you can get them for under $5 a piece in most places. So it's like, you know, for a game like this, if you're unsure if you're gonna want to pay $60 for it, just wait, and you're gonna get to enjoy it on your own terms. I do that all the time. I think this might be the upgrade I was looking for. Nope, it's a Meteor Rain, which I will replace the Thunderbolt with because I didn't really like that. Oh, I got raindrops too? Well, hey. So here's Meteor Rain, which I should save for a boss. Particle effects are really good. And I think that's why they have this weapon in here, so they can show off the particle effects more than it being an effective weapon for the demo. Oh, that's cool. So it's cool how this demo, like, because you're like a child-like version of the main character in like the stream world, the weapons and effects have like a very happy, whimsical look to them. There's fireworks. There's just bringing my enemies up. Yep. Cool. Like that. A little choppiness there. So I'm hoping the performance of the game when it comes out stays smooth enough. Oh, I thought there was another hammer here because it feels like my sword is stronger than the hammer. Oh, really good. One last pass to find a big hammer, and if I don't see it, then I'm going on the exit hallway. Okay, I guess my power-up isn't here like I thought. Now, one negative thing I'll say about this demo is it doesn't give you a clear... it's not telling you what to do, it's more like a playground. And, you know, that's cool. I like when games kind of throw you in and just go enjoy. But there's some stuff I saw in the next part of the demo that I would have loved to have known I could do. At least in like the loading screens or something, we could talk about it. Oh yeah, I really love, now here's the interiors, look really awesome. I mean, that's just so crisp and vibrant, and the texture on the wall looks really good when it gets up close. So just seeing like the lighting, oh my god, it's just amazing. But yep, so now I will head to the final part of the Dream/demo. And I didn't finish it, so I don't know if it just ends after you walk through the last one of these, or if there's something else, a trailer. I hope it just has the trailer. I'd like to see that again. And one thing that the other demo had that this one didn't have is because there was a party, there was some cool moments where I was circling around a guy attacking him, and my teammates came in and attacked from the other side. And that was just an early demo, so I'm excited to see what the full game does with that party dynamic. There was some really cool interactions with the animations between each other, where they jumped over each other's backs and stuff, and did kind of like little stylized moves. So excited to see. Now this cool, they call it the Citadel, and this city, I'm assuming it's the city your character is from in the game, in the full game, but we've seen this in some trailers and stuff, so I was really happy to see this in the demo. And what's cool about this is, the almost Kingdom Hearts-esque feel of this so far, because you have a child character that you're playing as. It's going to change in a minute. Now here's another enemy that's been in past Final Fantasies, the Iron Giant. Great to see him realized in full 3D like this. And now here's where the demo gets a cool little upgrade. Now you get to play after this.
Dreams. But remember, Noct, in the world of your dreams, you are king.
I'm not afraid.
He's the adult version, that's just how he'll be in playing. Okay, so now it's giving me a new... Now I can do a roll dodge. Cool. Now, this is where I was talking earlier. It doesn't tell you there's a new ability that... Holy yikes. So you can do... Wow, I really closely dodged that. Sure, I can get a new move coming up. Oh, and people are restored. Ooh, he blocked that. Oh crap, I ran out of stamina. I don't know what I was doing. Oh, cool. Fire. I missed him. Yeah, that's right. So, there's a feature that's not showing up right now. So you can... Oh, no, point war spot. So yeah, this is a feature they added. Once you get to areas that you can go up to, full block. Okay, so I just broke through into this spot. And what's cool is I can pick another spot to go to. So this stuff that they only briefly touch on, I think is what's going to really make the combat exciting in the full game. Boom, 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 boom. And then that. So, the last time I played the demo, I reactivated, there's a pad over on the asphalt over there that'll let you fight the boss again a little harder. And, probably can do more. I think that's where I can unlock the hidden shuriken weapon that I haven't had a chance to use yet. But I want to see what happens when you finish the demo, so I'm going to walk through the last central part. So is that where I gotta go? Yeah, I think if I hit down there, that brings me back. I'm gonna look at what the pad says. Yeah, it's got the enemy symbol. So, as much as I'd love to fight him again, that was cool. I did that warp strike, and see, I'm starting to see where some of the cool combat quirks can show their light in this game. So, I'm not gonna just count out the combat for being too simple just yet. There's definitely more, especially if you watch the video of some people playing this, like they're like masters already. I'm like, they're doing that in the demo, so I can imagine the full game. And that's a really cool building. So, all right, let's see if this ends the demo. Nice, I like that night lighting. It looks really good. Okay. End the demo by getting in my car. From the demo and the trailer, I can tell there's going to be a cool connection with your dad. I'm sure he probably croaks in the beginning of the game. But there's been a lot of interplay between them, and I like that. I'm pretty fond of most of the characters in Final Fantasy games, so I think this one will hopefully
See you.
find that line. I want a carbuncle for myself. Nice Converse All-Star looking shoes. I dig that because I like Converse All-Stars.
Wait. I remember your name now.
Oh. So I can name my carbuncle whatever I want. But you know what? I'm going to name him after my dog, Argo, who's sleeping on the floor behind me in the chair because he's so cute. Yay! Aw. Now I wonder why they let you name him. That chocobo emoji, that's cute. Ha! And then they go, would you like to order Final Fantasy 15? Well, I do, but I don't want to order it digitally or through this game, so I'm going to say no. I'm going to get a physical version. Of course, I won't be getting the special edition because if anybody noticed that, was sold out right away. First second of it being for sale and is already scalped. So now it tells your playtime after playing the demo. Ooh, this might be the trailer. And I'll do a live commentary. Nope, it's just a demo. I thought there was going to be a trailer. So, yeah, pretty cool. I really enjoyed this. I'm really excited to see where the series goes, starting with this and then the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I also think looks really good. So, I'm hopeful for where Final Fantasy is going. I know Square Enix sucks now and all that, but I really enjoyed some of their lesser known, well, I don't want to say this game's lesser known because it's pretty popular, but World Ends With You is a newer Square Enix game. It's old now, but it was newer when the DS era, you know, after Final Fantasy kind of died down, I guess, is what I would say, not newer. And I still think that's a good game. So I'm not ready to write Square Enix off yet. I'm going to try this game, and this is probably one of my top 3 most anticipated games. So looking forward to checking it out. Thanks everybody who watched this, and anybody who watches this afterwards on YouTube. Thanks for checking it out, and let me know what your thoughts are. I think this looks like it's going to be really fun, and can't wait to see where they go from here. So take care, everyone.